Hello, everyone, and thank you for watching this presentation for this leadership project essay. My name is Sylvia Shamodi. Let me start by sharing my screen so we can get started. First of all, I'd like to share my permission from Ms. Wendy Moore, who is currently the Associate Director for Collection Services at the Alexander Campbell King Law Library, where we both work, for agreeing to be interviewed for this leadership project essay. This interview was conducted in person on the 7th of July this year in the courtyard of the University of Georgia School of Law. Ms. Moore was kind enough to share her thoughts with me on the topic of leadership and gave me permission to use both the personal and the professional information that was discussed during our interview. As I've already established, Ms. Wendy is the Associate Director for Collection Services for the University of Georgia School of Law's Alexander Campbell King Law Library. And according to our website, she got her bachelor's degree at the Gustavus Adolphus College in St. Peter, Minnesota, and her library degree at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. She is an active member of several professional organizations, American Association of Law Libraries, Southeastern Chapter of the American Association of Law Libraries, and North American Serials Interest Group, and also the Georgia Library Association, which we can tell from one of her recent conferences where she is posing with one of our vendors, actually. A little bit about the Alexander Campbell King Law Library, my current place of employment, and this is where our interviewed leader, Ms. Wendy Moore, is working as Associate Director. This is our organizational chart, which does not show the fact that we are actually part of the law school, not part of the university-wide library system. Therefore, we are basically dependent on the dean of the law school, but the library does have its own director, and he is assisted in his day-to-day operations by 3 associate directors. One of them is Ms. Wendy, responsible for collection services. We do have another associate director for research services and a director for instruction and access services, where I fall in line as well. Talking about leadership style, I think that Ms. Moore's leadership style would be best categorized as the contingency approach described by Gregor. Here's an exact quote from her. "I'm not a fan of micromanaging as a supervisor, but I do step in when I see that my team can use my help." And I think this actually sums up her philosophy quite well. She also added that she makes sure her followers know their duties, but also make sure that they have all the necessary resources to be successful in their work. She also considers it important to get to know her colleagues, which I think falls in line with Padilla's remarks about how crucial it is to understand people's personalities, since it has an influence on how we think, feel, and behave, and how we fit into an organization and interact with others at this organization. Organizational fit is important to Ms. Wendy for sure. Here is actually a team building Zoom chat during the pandemic that Ms. Moore was pretty instrumental in putting together, making sure that we stay connected, making sure that the team spirit keeps on going even when we are not in the building together. On the age-old question of are leaders born or made, she actually took the wise position of somewhere being in the middle. She agreed with Cherry, who pointed out that some more recent theories propose that certain traits may help make people natural leaders, but that experience and situational variables also play a critical role. She firmly also believes that mentorship plays an important role in shaping future leaders, which is the reason why she and her partner, Eric, have been faculty advisors to a student organization on campus for many years. While volunteering with the Speak Out for Species group, they have helped students gain important presentation know-how, develop marketing campaigns, and refine other essential leadership skills. Here are a couple of actual pictures from some of these events, from the Speak Out for Species events, and we can see the group that they volunteer with. I admire the intentionality in Ms. Moore's leadership and leadership style, and also her journey to leadership. Her case is definitely not leadership by drift, as described by Dice, who states that leadership by drift occurs when people assume leadership roles without much self-reflection or actual choice. And Dice continues by comparing and contrasting this kind of leadership with intentional leadership by pointing out that authentic and strong leaders are choosing this path purposefully, which I know for a fact is the case with our associate director. During our conversation, it also became clear that her underlying desire to help others is behind her ambition to become a leader and actually be able to affect change in the profession and for our patrons. And this by Spears is defined as a servant leadership style. He states that true leaders are people whose primary motivation is a deep desire to help others. Some of the most important characteristics of servant leadership include empathy, stewardship, building a community, and a commitment to the growth of people on one's team, which are all characteristics that Ms. Moore has demonstrated time and time again. For example, another team building exercise showing your school spirit by wearing school colors. I believe this was actually taken the morning after one of our national championship wins. I'm obviously talking about college football here. Go Dogs. In conclusion, in my view, Ms. Moore is exactly the type of leadership modern academic libraries need to be able to prove their resilience and creativity to their home institutions in order to justify and secure continued funding. I think she is good for the collection development unit. I think she is great for our library and for the University of Georgia as a whole, and she adds a lot to the profession, both locally and nationally by participating in lots of conferences and being on committees. And after a quick look at the references, the law library crew, which is relatively small, and I would like to thank you for your attention.